Hey everyone, I'm Bas, and today I brought my co-founder Koen, and we're both founders of AI and development agency SevenLab. And here we are with a new episode in our podcast series about AI. And today we have a cool new project to share, something we did quite recently. We built it during a hackathon for a government organization here in the Netherlands. And our plan is to walk you through it, show you the problem we tackled, how we approached it. So we'll also show you, for example, how to code with AI. Very interesting topic. More or less anyone can do this. We'll also show you a little bit about the low code stack we're using. Maybe we'll share some learnings, and stick around to hear how we combined AI and the latest in transcription technology to create something that could transform the way organizations like this government agency handles regulatory compliance. Let's dive in. Maybe to start, Koen, do you quickly want to introduce what we did here in the 3 last weeks, I think?
Yeah, sure. We hosted a AI hackathon of three days. We started with an AI training to get the
People up to speed on the latest
to get
AI
the people up to
topics.
speed. Sorry, it's Monday. To get the people up to speed in terms of AI knowledge, and then afterwards we hosted a brainstorm to generate ideas how AI could improve their line of work, their business. And in the next 2 weeks afterwards, we developed the actual prototype and tested it with the attendees.
Yeah,
And
maybe before we dive in further, what kind of people were participating? Maybe that's nice to mention.
a good one. It were people from different departments, but mainly people whose responsibility is to inspect companies in the Netherlands to see if they comply to the environmental laws in the Netherlands. So they visit a lot of companies in the Netherlands and then check if they're if they comply to the law.
Yeah, and maybe just to recap for everyone that doesn't even know SevenLab, we are used to building one project at a time, but this time we did 3 projects in 3 weeks with 6 people, which was quite fun as well. So I participated myself as well. Yeah, intense as well. So the time pressure was on, but I think we got 3 great products, and today we'll dive into specifically one of them that I think Koen mainly built, and we just want to show you how quick you can get something up and running, also using AI in the development process and maybe a little bit of low-code tools. So this podcast is not necessarily for developers, more for tech-savvy business people, I would say. And that's our perspective as well. So Koen and I develop stuff, but not to the degree some of our other employees do, like the hardcore developers. So I think it's very interesting to see where we came in only a couple of days. So the throughput time was about 3 weeks, but I think effectively we've built this thing in 3 to 5 days.
Yeah, I think 3 to 4 days. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And therefore I think it's quite interesting to just show everyone how it's done, and then if you want, you can try yourself. So let's kick it off.
Let's dive in. Yeah, because I was in the in the team who started with a project for optimizing the process of doing inspections at companies, registering all the information while doing an inspection, and then based on this information generate a report or a letter which is sent to the company afterwards. Because these inspectors go to a company, do an inspection, then discuss the findings of this inspection with a director of this company, And then afterwards, they write down a report and send this report to the company as a confirmation of what they found. And this process takes quite some time. So when they do half a day of inspections, they have a week of work in processing all the information gathered there. So it's a really interesting topic in terms of business case.
So I think our solution impacts a couple of steps in this process, right? So first of all, the preparation for the inspection, maybe a little bit less because we take information automatically out of a case system that they use at the government, and then from that we just go to the company that we need to inspect. Let's say a swimming pool or something that needs to comply with certain chemical storage regulation or something. Then we go there, we see stuff. Usually we have to write it down and stuff. Now we just talk to the phone or have an earpiece in where we go and talk, and then after that, talking to myself as an inspector, I can generate a summary with the key aspects that we then also combine with regulatory compliance, right? The law is behind this, or how does that work?
You're spoiling the solution now.
Oh yeah, but just as a quick spoiler then.
Yeah, quick spoiler. Yeah, but our main goal was to optimize the process of gathering information at the location and then transform it to a report or to a letter which can be sent to the company. And to do so, we came up with a web application which you can use on your phone or on your laptop in the browser, which allows you to record audio. So you're doing the inspection and talking to your phone or using your earpiece, like Bas said. You just describe what you see. Then after this step, these findings are transcribed to text. This text is then summarized to a list of findings, because the next step in the process is that this inspector goes to the director of the company and discusses these findings. So they need a clear list of these findings, which comes from the summarization part. They also record this step. So the second conversation is also recorded, where they just go through all the findings. And then afterwards, when the second conversation is finished, they can click on finish and send letter. And then based on the transcription of both conversations, we generate a letter which is sent to the organization, or it's not necessarily sent, it's put in draft, so the inspector can check the letter when they get back to the office to see if it's all correct, and then they can hit send, because you do want to have a manual check in this process. We first started building this web app using Flutterflow. Flutterflow is one of our low-code tools for developing front ends. Which is really easy in building new applications. So I think in 2 hours I made an app where you can log in, where you can see inspections, where you can start a new inspection. The only challenge was that we do need to do quite some stuff with audio. So we need to record audio, pause it, play, delete, etc.
Word, I think, as well, right?
Sorry?
Converting it
as well. And the limitations of Flutterflow are that you don't have much capabilities of adjusting these audio features in Flutterflow. So after 2 hours of trying to make it work, I switched to full code using Cursor. And Cursor is a tool where you write code by prompting an AI what you want. I'll show it in a minute. And with this tool, I think I spent 1.5 hours to rebuild the app in full code, and which allows me to do a lot more with the audio part in the application. I can show you how Cursor looks.
And now the good stuff, right?
The interesting stuff.
Yeah.
So this is Cursor, and in Cursor you can edit your code. So we're looking at the code of a page in the application, and here you can edit the code like a normal code editor. But the cool thing is that you can use AI to improve this code. So let's say, for example, we want to translate all the Dutch text in this view to English. We can open a new composer, and composer is where you interact with the AI model, including your code. And here we can prompt the AI model to make adjustments in this file. So let's say, please translate all Dutch user missing text to. So now this prompt is sent to the AI model, including the code of this page. And now it's starting to generate output. And this is just a really simple example because translating is not the difficult part of developing code. But it also allows you to debug certain features, for example. So if you have an error in your code, you can just paste it here and say, hey, I'm doing this and this, and I get this error. And then the AI model comes up with solutions. You can accept them and then retest your functionality. So here you see the AI is going through the code and making the translations, which takes some time because it's quite a long file. It goes on and on because there's quite some text in this file. And when you, for example, have feedback, you can also answer this prompt with feedback. Hey, please change summary to, I don't know, list of findings, and then it changes it to list of findings.
Yeah, so you can adjust it functionality wise and language wise. It doesn't really matter. So these models can code, right? Quite well. So the model behind this is, I think, the Sonnet model from Anthropic, and that was already one of the best coding models. But last week they released a small update, right, where it goes where it's even 10-20% better again at coding specifically. So yeah, quite cool.
Yeah, and using this tool, I was able to rebuild the Flutterflow app within 1.5 hours by just prompting the views I had in Flutterflow, because I already knew what I wanted to create. And then in 1.5 hours, I was able to create this. But I think it's maybe better to show the actual result now.
Looked at some abracadabra for some people.
Yeah, because the code doesn't say much. So here you see the actual application. It's mostly used on a mobile phone, so that's why we have this mobile view for now. It's all in Dutch because this application is used by Dutch-speaking users only right now. But here you see an overview of all the inspections. Inspections have a status of active and finished. You can create a new one. And when you open a inspection, you can start recording. So we have 2 steps. We have the inspection itself. In Dutch, we call it the controle. And we also have the meeting afterwards where you discuss your findings. So in the first step, you start recording. So now it's recording what we're saying right now. You can pause the recording and continue it. And when you're done, you can hit save. So now the recording is uploaded to the server. So now it's stored on the server. We can play it again. We can delete it. And when we're finished with these changes, we can hit transcribe and summarize, which then makes a transcript of this conversation. So here you see an example where you see the actual stuff that's being said on location, and then also the summary. So this summary is a list of findings on this specific inspection. This summary is then discussed with the director of the company, which is being inspected. You can enter an email address, and this email address is used to send the actual output letter to the user. So it's 2 steps. Step 1 is recording the actual inspection itself. This is then automatically transcribed and summarized. And then the second step is to record the discussion of these findings at this company. to then at the end finish and send the actual letter. Now I am going to show you the backend flows of this application.
Yeah, maybe quick in the app. So we have the transcript, we have the rules, like the compliance rules someone has to obey, and those combined give the summary, right?
Not the summary, no.
But the summary is just what you discussed, or
yeah. So
okay.
I think it's better to show the backend flow, because then I can tell you about the differences between the two.
Mm-hmm.
So for the backend, we use this tool called N8N, which is a low-code tool for building backend flows.
Maybe a quick side note. So if people that are watching our podcast think, okay, I want to know more about Cursor and coding with AI, or I want to learn about this backend tool to build stuff within my own organization, just let us know through the YouTube comments, and maybe we can make a dedicated video for it, like a quick tutorial or something.
Yeah, because today is a really quick demo of a specific application, not necessarily explaining how N8N works, for example. But here, as an overview, you see two flows. You see a transcribe and summarize flow and a generate letter flow. So we'll first go to this first flow. This flow is triggered when you hit the button transcribe and summarize. When this flow is triggered, we get URLs of the audio recordings recorded in the app. We split these recordings up to make sure that we can handle each audio recording separately, which is then sent to a tool called FFmpeg. And we use FFmpeg to convert all the different audio types to one specific audio type. Because one of the challenges here was that if you record audio on your iPhone in Chrome, you get a different audio type than when you record the same in a Android Firefox, for example, usage. So we needed a step to transform all these different audio sources to one specific audio source, and also a minimized version. So we use FFmpeg, which is an open source library, to transform all these different audio inputs to one specific source, which is then sent to the Whisper API. And Whisper is a audio AI model made by OpenAI, the company behind ChatGPT, which is an open source model, which we use to transcribe this audio file to text. So if we run these steps as an example, you can see the flow running. You can't see the flow running because you need to do this first.
Yeah, maybe show a past execution. Might be easier.
Yeah, but then I have to search for a correct one, because I'm not sure what people put in. See, it's a bit. Yeah. So this is an example of a execution used while testing this application. So you see the webhook is being used by the app I just showed. Then this call is split up in terms of audio files. Well, in this call, there was only one audio file, so only one recording. This recording is then transformed by FFmpeg to a specific output file, a OGG file, which is the smallest, or one of the smallest audio types with still high quality. And this audio file is then sent to the Whisper API. And this Whisper API transforms this audio file to output text. This text is then handed over to another AI model to check the transcript, to see, hey, are there any weird things in the transcript that doesn't make sense, knowing this is an environmental inspection done in the Netherlands at a company. So this step is used to fix certain weird transcriptions made by the AI model. Then all this text is combined to one output, which is then handed to another AI model to summarize the transcript. So here we have the input of the flow, which is the transcript, the checked transcript. which is then handed over to the AI model to make a summarization with certain instructions how to summarize this text. In this step, we don't use any law to check whether these findings are correct or not. It's just a summarization of all the findings. And these findings are then sent back to the web app, which is the app I just showed. So this is the first flow that is being used. And then the second step is generating the actual letter. And with this flow, you finalize the project. So you have done the 2 recordings, one recording for the inspection itself, the other recording for discussing the findings of the inspection. And then at the end, you hit the button finish and send letter. And in this step, we get all the information from the inspection, so that both the transcripts of both audio recordings, and we hand it over to an AI model to generate a list of deficiencies. So here you see all the different transcripts and summarizations we hand over to the model. And then we ask it to make a list of deficiencies using these instructions. And using this structure as output. So we want a list with a subject, a description, the laws that are relevant, and if there are any necessary
Actions
that need to be taken. So if there are any necessary actions that need to be taken, then this list of deficiencies is combined with the actual HTML template of this letter. So this is the template of the letter. And at the bottom, we include the deficiencies from the previous step.
Maybe to quickly mention, HTML is the language of web pages. So we basically create a web page from the letter, or the letter is translated into a web page. Then you are able to print it or send it or do anything with it, right?
Yeah. And this is the actual. So they handed over a Word file with this letter in it, and we translated it to an HTML file. Because that's easier for AI to handle compared to a Word file. And in this template, you see a lot of placeholders. So, for example, last name, inspection date, street, company name, etc., which are still in here. We then ask, again, an AI model to fill in this HTML template based on all the information we handed. So we give it the transcript of both conversations, we give both summaries, and then ask the model to fill in these placeholders in the HTML with all known information. The output of this step is a filled in HTML template with all the information gathered at the inspection.
And what would be the benefit of doing it like this instead of working with merge tags or something? Or is that even possible in this case?
Well,
people might know merge tags in Word or in newsletter tools or something.
Yeah. Well, one of the merge tags you can see here is this part, for example. So here we include all the deficiencies from the previous step. We could do the same for last name, etc. But by using this setup, we can let AI interpret the information from the inspection and then determine which which part of the information is the last name, for example, which allows for a more flexible setup. So if we, for example, see that last name is not filled in correctly, we can add extra instructions in this part. So we can explain how this placeholder works by, for example, giving an example, which then dramatically improves the output made by the AI model. So if we want to implement a new type of letter, for example, we can make the same template in HTML, but then different placeholders. And then it will work almost instantly with the same setup we're using now.
Yeah, and maybe during the talk, we gathered a lot of unstructured information that might be relevant also for the letter, right? So
Yeah.
Right now I don't think we have something of that relevance, but like if the inspector mentioned something very specific during the conversation, which we need when we are going to write the letter, something specific he discussed with the director only, for instance,
Yeah.
then we can put it in a certain place in this letter. So personalize it a little bit more for free, so to say, right?
Yeah. 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 It leaves a lot more room for customization per company using this setup.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. And the last step in the flow is that we send the actual HTML template, the letter, to the specified email address.
Yeah, I think that's a great demo, and just shows you how quick you can build using AI, because this was made in a couple days. Usually, it would take us maybe at least a few weeks to build something like this, at least with full traditional development. So that's cool to see, in my opinion. And also, you see a lot of the advantages of AI being shown here. So I think first of all, going from unstructured information to structured information. So unstructured is just having a chat with someone about could be anything, right?
Yeah.
So it really impacts the whole process of the actual inspection. So no longer working with checklists and everything, but just having a conversation. And then after the conversation, we can automatically take that whole array of that whole stuff and then put it into a nice letter that we previously, where we discussed the findings also with the director, put it in a letter, and be done with our whole process instead of all these in-between steps that are basically administration, right?
Yeah, and I also think that this hackathon again showed the power of using low-code tools like N8N, for example, because it's a really cool way of developing with the actual domain experts together. Because while building this flow, we could test it and then see, for example, that the summarization of the transcript is going wrong. Then we can, together with the domain experts, look at this prompt and then add certain rules to make this prompt better, test it again, and then improve. So it's a really cool way of making software development way more understandable by non-developers.
Yeah, so we might have lost some people in the beginning where we showed a lot of code, but this is usually something clients understand very well, right? They know what a flowchart is, and then basically we're taking everyone through flowchart. But in this case, the flowchart really processes data, so each node, each step does something, and we can immediately see the output or where to tweak stuff, which is awesome. And another advantage I think of N8N specifically that we've shown here is that it already has a lot of out-of-the-box connectors, right? Maybe thousands of integrations that are already done for you. So if you need information from a CRM, an ERP, or you need to build an AI agent where N8N has a node for almost anything. And what they don't have, we just write a little piece of code and then we have added functionality basically. So, but of course it has no user interface. So that's why we showed the code in the beginning to make a unique user interface. Then we've used N8N to process all the data and store it. But I think that was a great demo. If people would like to have more of this stuff, just let us know. But I think for this week, we're done, right, Koen? Anything?
I think
to add?
enough talking for today.
Yeah, for the whole day.
For the whole day.
Yeah. No, thanks everyone. And like this video, subscribe to our channel. Really helps to keep us motivated to share more stuff like this. See you next time.
Yes, see you next week. Ciao.